Hi, Lake Point Church. It's Pastor Jesse, and it's time for our Connect Point. This last week, we have really focused on a message that I gave this past Sunday on don't waste your moment. And for the last week, I've really taken each point, there were 4 of them, and I broke them down to this point tonight, our 4th and final point about not wasting our moment, focusing on what He has for us so that we don't miss it. We have to be aware so that we don't miss what we're supposed to learn during this time. We don't miss this moment and end up wasting it. And I gave 4 different observations in that message, and then I took each one and I broke them down as I said. But we must honor the pause was the first one. We must honor the pause. Secondly, we must diligently be seeking Him. Thirdly, we must recognize the shaking. And finally, tonight, we must accept the uncertainty. We must honor the pause, take time to look at this and say, what is it that I need to learn during this time? We must also be seeking Him, diligently seeking Him, this spiritual intimacy, calling out to Him, Him calling out to us. We must be asking ourselves, what do I need to do to diligently seek Him? We must also recognize the shaking, which is what I talked about last night in the Connect Point. We must recognize that we are being shaken, and we have to have this solid foundation to be upon. And then tonight, we must accept the uncertainty. We must accept the uncertainty. Uncertainty really has been the most consistent factor in this whole lockdown, this whole quarantine period, everything that's going on. It's been so inconsistent. It's really changed. I remember initially, it changed almost every single day. I can remember one day we decided to stay open as a church. Within 24 hours, we'd close the church for a period of time. It was just amazing how rapid the changes were happening. And now they're slowly happening. Things are slowly changing. And really, we're starting to feel this restlessness of, I need to get out. I need to go do something. I need to be a part, because it's uncertain if it will ever be the way it was. But the question that I want to look at, there are actually 3 questions, is how should we be thinking? How should we be praying? And what should we be doing? We shouldn't be looking and going, I can't wait till things get back to normal. I think we need to reflect and look back at what we used to do and say, I need to get rid of this in my life. I needed to get rid of that in my life. I was too busy. I was too busy running and doing things. And now we've got a lot more family focus on what we are doing. Not to forget that some people really have suffered during this time. Some people have lost family members. Some people have lost loved ones. Some people in the medical community have watched things happen that the rest of us may not have even have seen. So we must remember that it's all uncertain. Is the government a part of this? Is this a political act? What is all of this? All kind of builds and hinges around this uncertainty. But in the book of Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah, chapter 26, verses 3 through 4, he said this, you keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you. So God keeps those who keep their mind on Him in perfect peace. You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord is an everlasting rock. Yesterday, I talked about building our house on the rock and how Jesus said, build your house on a solid foundation. Build your house on truth. Build your house on heavenly truth, not on the truth of this world. And I think too often we look around, we watch the news and we look around and we read online. We're trying to find what is the truth and all, who is telling the truth in all of this. But remember my point here. Uncertainty has been the most consistent. We are probably never going to know the full truth. And even if we do, we may never even understand why the things happen the way they happened. We have to come to a place almost of accepting that we are uncertain and moving forward in the things of God, not looking back at what has happened. And I use the scripture, Psalm 91, to really bring this about. I've been reading this all week, and I'm not going to read the whole psalm again. I'll let you go back and do that. But in the first part of the psalm, verses 1 and 2, it was God saying, here is the call to abide in the presence of God. So I can ask you, I ask myself, am I abiding in the presence of God at this time? Then the psalm goes on in verses 3 through 13. It talks about the safety in abiding in the presence of God. And there is safety in that. But here's what I do know. Even though things are very uncertain, according to this psalm and other scriptures that I have studied, the reward of abiding in the presence of God is evident. There is a reward for your faithfulness of abiding in the God's presence. And here it is in verse 14 through 15. Because he has set his love upon me. Now this is God speaking to us. Because he has set his love upon me, or they, male and female, have set their love upon me, therefore I will deliver them. I will set them on high because he has known my name. He shall call upon me and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I shall satisfy him and show him my salvation. I think what we have to draw from this part of the psalm, the reward, is that God is with us. It is God with us. That's what Jesus' name was, Emmanuel. It said in scripture, God with us. And the reward of abiding in his presence is that we will have him with us in every storm that we're in, every crisis that we are in. Will it still feel hard? Will it still be difficult? Will we feel as though God has left us in the storm? We will still have those feelings. Those feelings come and they go, but God is consistent even in things that are inconsistent. God is certain even when things are uncertain. And when we follow and seek after him, there is great reward in his presence. So this kind of finishes the whole series about not wasting the moment. I think we need to be very, very aware of what is around us, what is going on, so that we don't miss the moment and end up wasting it. We must honor the pause that we're in. We must be diligently seeking him. We must recognize the shaking, and we must accept the uncertainty. And then we will move forward in what God has for us in the next. And I think that is an important lesson for all of us to remember. Don't waste this moment. Don't waste this time. I would pray that you would be blessed and you'd move forward in the great things that God has for you as a Christ follower, but also has for us as a church at Lake Point. Be blessed.